of relaxation, well-being, and calm. So starting just quickly by breathing in and breathing out.
Technology kills viruses in just one. What did you do, Mom? Dad, holy crap!
Ya quedó, ya solamente tenemos que registrar autonomía curricular y el área socioemocional de los niños, porque esa parte no está quedando bien.
The crisis has actually provided an opportunity to the company to discard its 20-year-old operating model and leapfrog into a new model of work with an outlook for most of their employees working remotely.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed our relationship with the office, perhaps forever.
How's the whole working from home thing going for you?
Whoa! What? No!
Hi everyone, welcome to the 10th episode of House of Cure presents Doc Talk. Today we have with us a very young ophthalmologist who has an experience over about 1,000, 2,000. How many cases is it, Harshit?
Over my studies and this thing, over 2,000-3,000 patients minimum.
2,000-3,000 patients. So it's gonna be an incredible chat. Today we're going to be discussing how work from home culture has kind of really taken over all of us, even kids with schools, young adults with their entertainment and work, and the slightly senior population with being on their phone all the time. So there's a lot of stress that your eyes are facing, and we'll be discussing all of this with Dr. Harshit. Hi, Dr. Harshit.
Sure. Hi, Karan. How are you doing? How's the pandemic treating you?
Very good. I mean, so far so good with the second wave, fortunately going down now.
Falling down,
it's opening up. I think it's opened up a lot of more work avenues for us as well.
Definitely.
What about you? How has the pandemic been for you?
So it's been I am an eye surgeon. So I'll just introduce myself briefly. I am Dr. Harshit Vaidya. I am an eye surgeon, and I specialize in something called as the vitreoretinal diseases. It's a portion of the eye which is back. It's like the back portion of the eye. In front we see the black portion, and this is something which is inside, so that's called the retina, and I specialize in that. I have done my training and like my residency and my fellowship from an esteemed institute in Chennai called Shankar Nethralaya, and so I'm a graduate from that institute, and I take pride in that. And taking things from there, I came down early March of 2020 from my studies, and things were pretty dull to begin with. Ophthalmology services did take a hit because patients were hesitant to come, right? And as things opened up, because obviously life take precedence over eyes, no doubt about that. So patients were skeptical. We ourselves were skeptical to call patients and flood them in our OPDs, so that we don't want to expose them to unwarranted exposure as well. So that's what it was. Now as things are opening up, patients are getting more aware. Patients who've had problems, who've kind of delayed their treatment, are coming back, are kind of getting aware, because the disease is kind of coming with more aggression, so to say, because they've neglected their diseases, their problems for this while. So that's what it's been, and it's shaping up fine now.
That's good to hear. Now, naturally, I'm a dentist and you're an eye surgeon. We really can't work from home, so
Correct.
We fortunately have not been exposed to that side of things. But a lot of people have been. I mean, I'm sure you know a lot of people in your circle who have been just stuck at home, and just working just on their screens the entire day. And how's their experience been? Like, just a general overview. Like, you must have heard a lot of stories about it.
Definitely. So, just to give a brief, right, Karan, so there are two things that have the lockdown or the COVID has played a role in eye diseases, so to say, right? One is the direct impact that the disease has had, which I'm sure people have been aware of, right? Like we talk about signs and symptoms of the coronavirus, right?
Right.
So by now, I think almost everybody knows how COVID has impacted eyes, something like conjunctivitis or red eye, right? A lot of patients were there was a spurt of cases over the last 1 year, used to be waxing and waning, where red eyes was very, very common. Then there were other diseases like uveitis, that is the inflammation of the eye. Then there were vein occlusions, that is like how we have a block in the heart or in the brain. There
Mm-hmm.
are blockages that happen in the retina, in the eye. So they caused problems. There was sudden loss of vision, and there were reported cases. And if you must be aware that there's something called as black fungus that created a big wave over the past one
Right.
and a half months.
Right.
So that's a direct impact that COVID had on patients' eye health, so to say, right? But there was, like we are talking about, work from home, which created an indirect impact. Wow. Now these were not really tangible. These were not directly that we could quantitate. Okay, you know what? I have this problem, but patients are by their for the lack of word of unknowingness, rather, that they were not knowing what's happening. The work culture from home has created this underlying wave of eye problems which are coming to the fore as time
Forefront,
goes
right.
on. So yeah, forefront, right? So we're aware that over this past few the screen usage has been on the rise since the digital era, so to say. Since 2000, we know that the screen time has increased, but over the past 1 year, it's reported that over 5 to 6 hours on and above average, people have increased their screen time. And children, so to speak, are, because of their schools, because of their work from home, or for adults, have increased their screen time to about 8 to 10, 12 hours a day. Now, this has to have an impact, right? Direct or indirect, this has
Correct.
to have an
Because I
impact.
mean, now you're saying 6 to 7 hours a day is the minimum amount of time a child is spending on the screen, as compared to say 1 or maximum 2 hours a day.
Correct, because at least they were
Is
going to
that
school. Now the entire school curriculum is
it's
on the
completely
laptops and the
it's
digitalized.
completely on
So
screen. I feel like eyes tend to be one of the most overlooked. Unfortunately, as the organ that see, as the organs that
correct,
see,
correct,
they're the most overlooked organ of our body. We kind of take it
correct.
for granted because
Definitely,
it's one of our senses, and it's just like, oh, this is how we operate. My eyes, and that's how
definitely.
I see, that's how I operate. And suddenly, if something happens to it, or whatever's happening right now with the work from home culture and its effect on eyes, I'm sure the long term effects are not going to be really great.
Not
And
at all. I mean, absolutely right. I guess you've hit the nail. So to just give a heads up, right? So myopia is something which affects children. It's a minus number that you may be knowing, in which the eyes are usually elongated. Like, that is, the eyes are slightly bigger, right?
but so one second,
Now,
myopia is for I can't see
it's a
close distance,
nearsightedness. You
or
can't see far. You
nearsight.
can't see far.
I can't see
Yeah,
far. Okay.
nearsighted. You can't see far, and this is what is usually the case in a lot of young children, right? So there is a raging sort of underlying pandemic of myopia itself. So you'll be surprised, Karan, that by around 2050, apparently 50% of the world's population will be affected by myopia. Now that is a staggering number, right? Now it should be surprising, and it should kind of awaken all of us, right? Like 50%, like every other person having myopia by 2050. I mean, that's an alarming call by itself. And this was a projection in 2016, mind you. So this 1 year of pandemic has definitely created more of a
And have
havoc.
just kind of sped things sped
Yes,
things up.
indeed. 100%. So it is known, right, that using a lot of near work. I mean, near work in the sense that children who read a lot and who are not
Or
doing
screens or
outdoor
whatever around.
exercises. Yes.
Okay.
So basically, reading when you're reading up close in schools, you have a blackboard or something which is kind of far away. So your education at least is kind of far away. But now you're reading constantly, and And more than that, a direct association has been found between outdoor games, the lack thereof rather, and the progression or the onset of myopia. Now, now how do we relate? How do we relate this to COVID? Right now, children we know haven't gone out much to play. This has happened even pre-COVID. If you realize, because of the digitization, children are now spending more time on their phones.
In fact, right before COVID kicked in or everything, that was like one of the hot topics that was always going around about how digitization
Correct.
is coming in and kids are spending more time on their phones,
Yeah.
you know, and more
Yes,
time on
yes.
their screens. They want their
Absolutely.
PlayStations and Xboxes. And now it's
Absolutely,
kind of like
absolutely.
nature's kind of pushed us into that little corner and be like, oh no, you have to be on your screen.
You have to be on your toes. Exactly. So what it's done, you know, like again, just to give you numbers, what happens is numbers kind of awakens people, right? So in these, so there was a study done in the Chinese group, right? So around 1.5 to 3.2 times progression of myopia was noted when children were given a 6-month period of being indoors. Now, in a 6-month duration when children were indoors, the myopia progression was about 1.4 to 3.2 times, which is, now imagine 3 times the prevalence, which is again a staggering number, right?
Yeah.
Massive number. Now why does this have an direct or an indirect impact? So it's again noted around $244 billion of losses are incurred by uncorrected myopia. When this problem that you have in the eyes, right, if it goes uncorrected, and which is the case, it is one of the most prevalent eye diseases, refractive error or myopia. Imagine a $244 billion loss, which is, so it's not just a direct impact to the child, it's a socio-economic impact as well. And there has these underlying effects of mental illness, you know, physical illness. So it's a compounding factor. It's not just eyes, but because of these things, it's a compounding effect that kind of rolls on, and the effect will be seen over a period, right? And this, mind you, was the maximum the problems have been noted in the age group of 6 to 8 years. So at this point in time, this age group, which is going to be a workforce, let's say 20-25 years down the line,
correct,
the impact is going to be that far ahead, not just restricted to this point in time.
But it's amazing that this study is quite interesting actually, about how they've kind of quantified everything and kind of tried to, you know, explain to everyone about how it's projected. And, you know, it's quite amazing about how a small, like a butterfly effect, a small thing
exactly
right now can cause
yeah,
like absolutely. A hurricane later.
So that's the reason, right? So we there are these we need to educate people. Now I really have to appreciate that you guys are doing this through House of Cure. These small bit of awareness, see, even if 10 people make an impact, I think that's an impact made nonetheless, right?
Exactly. Even if we just make one person, you know, if one person understands all of these figures, it's enough to, you know, we made our impact on them.
Yes, contribution.
That's really
we made
important.
our contribution. So you know, extending, it's not just to the you know, children, Karan, even the middle-aged people who are the workforce of the country, right? You and me, people who are working from home, they because of this entire thing of being at home, there's something called as a computer vision syndrome. Now, the Indian statistics show that around 47% of our employees are working from home, and you know, around 70% of them have started working from home, whoever were affected. So if I'm getting my stat right, I think that's what it is. Yeah. So and 70%. Let me correct myself, right, Karan? 70% of the employees who are there are working from home, and 47% of these people have been noted to have, these professionals are noted to have some sort of headache or fatigue. Now, everything cannot be mucormycosis. Everything cannot be something severe. There's something, an underlying thing. Now, these professionals, on an average, are working on the computers for 6 to 9 hours. Now, that's not normal even by any standards. Like, you know, that there needs to be some kind of, there needs to be some kind of a break to this kind of lifestyle, to say, right? This cannot be going forward. This is not going to be beneficial for any of us. And what already there's this thing called computer vision syndrome, which has been established for the past 20 years since the digital era has been there. But we are seeing more of these kind of patients. In my regular OPD, at least on a daily basis, in a low OPDs as well, see at least 20 to 30% of patients who have this particular syndrome. So computer vision syndrome was used when computers were the main source of digital platform, right? Nowadays, but when we use that term, patients or you and me will be unaware that we are using tablets, we are using our mobile phones, so they don't associate, computer vision with that. So we use the term digital eye strain, which includes all of these digital platforms. Now, what these so to broadly classify the symptoms, like what can you and me or somebody else as a patient know what a digital eye strain is, right? So there are two broad ways. There is an external symptom and there is an internal symptom, right? Now, external symptom will be something like patients feel like irritation, watering, burning sensation. That's how they will feel, right? On the other hand, the internal symptoms, so to speak, will be a headache, an eye strain, a throbbing or a dull pain in the eye. These are these two broad classifications. There are different reasons. The external symptoms are due to the dry eyes, which are the main problem, and the internal symptoms are due to the accommodation. Now, because patients are looking at the near objects more, there is something called as accommodation, that the eyes have to basically accommodate to look at the near object, and that causes excessive use of that causes trouble in and these symptoms, so to speak. So this is what computer vision and digital eye strain is.
And I believe all of the young adults who have been working from home, and also like their entertainment and their breaks are also on screen, right? Because if I'm going to take a break, I'm having lunch, I'm probably putting on Netflix or Amazon and just watching something there. And then, okay, my food's done, okay, back to work and back on the screen. And then my breaks are on the screen again and my work is on the screen again. So I think the only time they're probably not on their screens is when they're sleeping or,
I get absolutely.
That's the only thing.
And these have dreaded effects. So there is no doubt the dry eye diseases and these asthenopia, as we call, the eye strain or the eye fatigue, these have increased tremendously, and there are ways to mitigate these problems. And I'll give our viewers a certain tips, like just basic tips as to what can be done, right? So to start off, right, like now we cannot tell these people, like we cannot tell our viewers or our people who are working from home to stop working. That would be the ideal scenario, but we can't do that. So what do we do? What can we do, right? Simple things. Start with a proper distancing, right? Like, when I'm reading something or if I'm having my computer or my laptop, have an arm's length, right? At least an arm's length distance, because somebody's going to be using it more frequently. Make sure that the distance is at least arm's length. Your eye angle, right? Like make sure that the screen or the laptop or your digital monitor, whatever it is at least 4 to 5 inches below your eye level. Now, what that does is it gives that eye that 20-30% reduction. Your eyes are looking lower. That closes your eyes a little bit. That helps preventing dryness. Your exposure is lesser, so your dryness is lesser.
That's interesting.
Very simple, right? So it's a very simple thing that can be done. So ergonomically, if you're like sitting up straight, right, that helps your neck strain. That helps your face, your eyes, your bodies, your legs to be at a more comfort level.
Right.
Then you do something like you adjust your lighting. Now, it's an absolute no-no to work in dim light. I would ensure that my light source is coming from the left side. So we avoid shadow, right? The light source needs to be, adjusted accordingly. Third thing is something called as a 20-20-20 rule, right? I want our viewers to maybe have this simple thing. You're working all day, 6 to 9 hours. Ensure that every 20 minutes, you take a 20-second break and you look at something at a 20 feet distance. This helps in reducing your eye strain. And what this maximally does is ensures that you're blinking frequently. The biggest problem that we have because of these small, these problems like computer vision syndrome is the infrequent blinking. Now we can't consciously, when we are looking at a screen, we are not conscious that we are not blinking enough. And because of these, there's a ripple effect and the dry eyes and the symptoms because of that. So a conscious effort to blink definitely helps, right? So there are
Right.
these multiple hacks, right? So you have apps which tell you to stop the number of hours that you're like, let's say you put a timer that I'm going to be using my app or my digital platform only for 2 hours in a day. That ensures some kind of, a stoppage. Okay, that my time is enough. Now I need to ensure some other activity. So there are these small hacks which help us ensure that we can prevent these kind of symptoms and mitigate them. Another valid point, which if I may, is what this screen does is that it emits something called as a blue light. I'm sure you're aware, and a lot of people
Yeah.
now want to use a blue filter.
Yeah, I was going to ask
either-
about the blue light filters and the blue light blockers.
Correct. So the intention is that now the blue light has in an ultraviolet spectrum, and the blue light also can cause, in excess or in acute dosage, cause problems in the retina, right? But it's not that which is a problem. It's not the direct eye effect. It's the circadian rhythm, or something called as the sleep pattern, which the blue light affects. Just to get a little medical, there's something called as the melatonin. It's a hormone. What it does is it helps in sleeping. Basically, it's a hormone needed to sleep, right? Blue light, what it does is it hampers this process, and your sleep pattern thereby gets disturbed. So that's the reason these blue light filtering, either your screens or your spectacles, help in avoiding and tiding over the sleep pattern problems, right? And hence I think, like, nowadays people do advocate it, and it is something which, and especially people who are using late at night, it definitely helps having some rhythm, if not more.
So you would say that it doesn't have like a direct impact, but like indirectly through better sleep and
Correct.
little rest for your eyes, it kind of does
Yes.
indirectly impact the entire.
Yes. It's
All
it's
right.
the eye system.
I think we've covered everything for the kids. You've given us all these amazing tips. What about those drops that you get? You get these
Artificial tears.
Yeah, artificial tears, or
Correct.
so
Yeah, that's what.
basically,
Yeah.
so what is that, and can I use it if I'm like in case I'm feeling tired, or my eyes feel tired?
Definitely. So these are, so again, this is when your eyes are dry. These are artificial tears which supplement your dry eye. So it tides over your strain in the eye, your tiredness. So you can use it at least. I mean, especially when people are working, let's say 8 to 5, you can space it around 3 times in a day, right? This is a rough number, but I would always suggest people to visit an eye doctor once. What happens is, we do not want to miss an underlying pathology which can be there, right? It can,
Absolutely, yeah.
95% of the times you may just go scot-free. You'll be like, fine, but you don't want to take that risk, and hence we suggest that you can use it over a short period. But if it's not subsiding, I would request people to at least just go visit their doctors.
So I think all of these tips pretty much cover how it can, what kids and young adults can do for their eyes. For kids, I think the same thing. I think the 2020 rules, 2020 rule, along with I think filters for those who can want better sleep.
And in case of children, Karan, I think parents play a very important role, because like as parents, because of the lockdown, they want time to themselves, because obviously 24/7 monitoring of kids is not an easy task, and the best solution for them is give them the tablet, give them the laptop, give them the phone, and let them just be. It doesn't have an impact right now, like they may just say cause an eye strain or if anything, but this has a long-term effect in terms of myopia and other mental health problems as well, which screen time has been known to play. So parents definitely play as important a role as the medical educators like you and I, and hence the emphasis on parents to play a more an important role.
This is interesting when you mentioned this about parents. I remember my sister and my nephews. For them, break time was something like, if you want, this is your break time. Okay, this is your screen time. You get 45 minutes of screen time in the day.
Correct.
And now, since
Correct.
everything's on screen, their break time is basically off screen time.
Off screen time.
So,
Correct. Exactly. So I mean, as things, all of us have had to modify our lifestyles, because of COVID. I think these are lifestyles which really need to be monitored right away and not for later, because this is going to have an impact later on, which we are not
Right.
able to, grab the condition and the situation as of now. And just to add, Karan, if I may, before we wrap it up,
Sure.
right? It's not just the young and the children who are affected, right? COVID and not the work from home, but the lockdown has had an impact on the elderly as well. Now, I can give you a number of stats. We know that India is the diabetes capital of the world, and like around 12% of our population is diabetic, and a good 1 in 7 diabetics have a diabetic retinopathy. That's a direct impact in the retina that has.
Right.
Over this past 1 year, there has been a progression, so to say, right, of the disease, because people have missed their visits, right? And so when we see patients now, who were in control, let's say in early 2020s, have kind of deteriorated quite a bit. And so it's caused a direct impact in terms of their visual recovery. And these have a long-term effect. Even patients who have age-related macular degeneration, it's an age-related thing in which the macula, which is the center portion of the eye, gets affected. And it causes, and these patients who need certain type of injections in the eye, they have missed it due to various reasons, valid reasons, of course. But, we're seeing an impact right now. A simple thing as a cataract, right, which almost all of us universally know what it is. Earlier, before the pandemic, patients, obviously, because it was a non-emergency disease, we have neglected it, and the grades of the cataract have become much more severe. And the operatability also has been, because operations also get slightly tougher as the grade becomes tougher. Higher. So these have had an indirect impact on the elderly as well. So it's a combination of being judicious. It's a combination of being wary of the situation, but also taking appropriate and proper care of their eyes, and being aware that they need to make sure that the eye visits are not skipped altogether, at least from now on in.
I think we've faced a similar situation when it comes to dental. Fear has taken over a lot of people, and for good reason. And because of that, a lot of diseases come to us when they're at their later stage. And it gets more expensive, it gets more complicated, it takes more time. All of those things are something that everybody has to go through some or the other repercussion of the pandemic or COVID-19. But I think this has been a pretty good chat. We've covered everything from the problems that have been rising or can arise, or the way it looks like these problems will come, in due time.
Definitely, yeah.
And
definitely,
we just need good doctors like yourself to help us through that situation. And
thank you, and you too, man.
And besides that, I think
and you too for doing
great tips. Yeah, thank you. And you've given us some awesome tips that I think everybody can inculcate. Parents can share this with other parents who really need to know that, okay, this is going to affect your kids. Please make sure that your kids do these small exercises. So it just basically the same way you're taking care of them and asking them to wear a mask. This is just the same thing. You're just taking care of your overall health. And eyes are so important, man. And I think when you grow up, there's so many jobs that you don't get if you don't have a good eyesight, right? I think you cannot become a pilot if your eyesight's bad.
Yeah, your vision. Yeah, if you have vision criteria. Yeah, absolutely.
So much is dependent on your eyes. So it's just our absolute responsibility to take care of them. But I think this has been a good chat. Do you have like a short parting message before we wrap this up?
So I would just reinstate a couple of things. I would reinstate the 20-20-20 rule. I think that's the most basic thing I think all of us can follow. Take a 20 after a 20-minute session of your computer time, take a 20-second break, watch something 20 feet away. If you can do some warm compresses, how you do for the back, close your eyes, put a warm cloth on your eyes, and you can massage your eyes. I'll just share how it's done. A massage can be done for your upper lids, it's from up to down like this, and for lower lids, it's from inside to outside. And I think twice a day, 10 rotations each should do the trick. In case you're having any eye strain or eye fatigue, you can use a lubricating eye drop for 2 to 3 times a day, but don't neglect the other symptoms if they are there. Visit an eye doctor in case, because we don't want to this can mask a problem, right? So we don't want some underlying problem.
You don't want
to
to self-medicate beyond the point, or you don't want to self-medicate at all.
I mean, to be honest, yes, but because patients are hesitant, try something after 5-10 days. If it's not working, maybe then it's time that a doctor would probably guide you better. I think that's my simple key takeaway from this.
Awesome. So I think that should wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on Doc Talk by House of Cure. This is our 10th episode, and we will chat again, say in a year's time, and take like kind of an update on what's happened so far, and
Definitely.
where has the research taken us, because the field that we're in is constantly changing, and new information is constantly being thrown at us, and it's sort of our job to let the general populace know about those facts.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Karan. I think you guys are doing a fabulous job at House of Cure, and wish you guys more success in the way that you guys are not only doing good job for the doctors, but this kind of a community approach that you're having, that you're making people aware. I think it's very much needed. It's a need of the hour. So thank you for calling me on your amazing platform, and more success to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.